Hi everyone, good to see you again. And tonight's topic, I want to do a little bit of processing around forgiveness or lead you into some deeper wisdom to do with forgiveness. And most of us have some forgiveness issues. This is what I've seen in my clients after 20 years of working with clients and clinical practice. It's easy for me to see how issues of unforgiveness remain stuck in our tissues. But what's even worse than that is that sometimes we actually gaslight ourselves around forgiveness. So we say to ourselves, oh, that's not an issue anymore. I've forgiven that 20 years ago. And this is what I often see in my clients. And then what I notice in their energy, in their body, that they're somewhere stuck midway. So all of us, of course, want to be easy forgivers, be loving, and be easy to get along with and have a happy life, because nothing is more tension creating than unforgiveness in family or in relationships. So if you think about it, if you think of children, and I've got a lot of kids, somewhere between 0 and 10, we lose the ability to forgive easily. Because if you observe children, how they're playing with each other, they're fighting 1 minute, then they're best friends the next minute, and then they can be enemies the next minute, and so it keeps going all day long. So they're very fluid, they can just go in and out, but they certainly do not have struggles or issues with unforgiveness. And the thing is, if we could just stay like that, all of us, there wouldn't be any wars, there wouldn't be any relationship breakdowns, and so on. So forgiveness is a big issue, and that's of course why it is mentioned in all religions. The importance of forgiveness is mentioned, or you could say shoved down our throats, in every major religion, and of course understandably so. But the issue is that we're told that it's something we have to do for our own betterment, of course, and to create peace in the world. But we're not explained how to do it. We weren't given a process. And this is how I see where people get stuck. So, for instance, something really bad has happened. You could even say something unforgivable sometimes. And people tell themselves, oh, no, I got over that years ago, when isn't it still stuck somewhere in their body? And that's actually worse, because now the body is dealing with the initial grievance, and on top of that, the tension in the body from the conflict that you're kind of living in denial, or living in a little lie there somewhere. And I'm sorry. Our bodies are truth detectors. I wrote about that last week, I think, that our bodies always respond really, really well to truth. Truth gives us energy, and I mean universal truth. And lies or untruths drain our energy. So unforgiveness is a big issue, and tonight I want to unpack it a little bit. What was I going to say? Something else I wanted to say, that love and forgiveness are almost the same thing. So love is actually our true nature. So I never want you to forget that at the bottom, or at your innermost core, your unconditional love. That's never going to change. You were born like that. You will always be like that. And when you die, you'll realize the truth of that. That's what I believe anyway. That's what I experienced when I had a near-death experience. And yet, even though we are love in our inner core, and forgiveness is an act of love, and we all know we should do it, it's not really that simple to do. So I thought today we could do a little exercise or a process to do this together, to show you that it's not an intellectual thing. So if it was purely an intellectual thing, and somebody said to you, I would say, Lisa, you haven't forgiven Bill for what he did 40 years ago. And Lisa could then simply say, oh, okay, I'll forgive him now, and that would be the end of the issue. Of course, it doesn't work like that, because your body has to feel it, your body has to agree with that, and the pain is usually stuck inside the cells of our body, inside the 50 trillion cells of our body that are screaming back at us like, no, that's not true. So, okay, so right, forgiveness is really a process where you need to dig a little bit deeper and bare your soul to yourself, right? It's stripping back some stuff, allowing some pain to bubble up, bare your soul to yourself. Might get a little bit ugly, but when you finish that process, you feel so liberated, and you can literally embrace a greater truth about yourself. You can live in a bigger space. You can be a bigger person all around, which is what we all want to do. So, okay, I'm going to do this together with you if that's okay with you. So, I want you to think of an event in the past where you felt hurt or betrayed or injured or lied to or what's unsafe or exploited. So you felt some harm was done to you, or some injury or something like that. So you don't need to think of the biggest event in your life that's ever happened to you, but you can if you like, because trust me, at the core of who you are, you can heal everything that you've ever experienced. And another ironical thing about us is that sometimes it's easier for us to forgive a really big thing than a little thing that recurs day after day. So for instance, when I got hit by a truck and was left for dead, and the truck driver didn't seem to care one little bit about my well-being, and he even took it a step further. He falsified the evidence and made it really hard for me to agree. The police tried to blame me for the accident as well. We had to go through a lot of hardship to clear my name, but thankfully we did in the end. That was really, really difficult. And yet, at the same time, it was so big. The injury and the harm that was done was so big to me that thankfully, a wiser part of me realized I'm never going to go there. So I actually didn't even do a spiritual bypass or anything, but I just felt like this accident is so crazy and so enormous. What's the meaning of it? Like, there is a deeper meaning for me here. Why is this happening for me? So immediately I went off down that road, and I didn't allow myself to go into victim mode, blaming him for what he had done to me. I just I guess the universe was doing this for me so I could have a better life. And thankfully, and the gift of that accident was that I had a near-death experience, which is still helping me today. So I can thank the truck driver for that. But strange enough, everyday little things are sometimes harder to forgive. And that's the reason why Jesus said to one of his disciples, I think it was Peter, he said, how many times should I forgive? And Jesus said 70 times 7, which really means infinite, like infinite amount. But sometimes I think it means we have to forgive the same person, or rather in ourselves, again and again. And we can do that quietly. And by the way, we don't need an apology from anyone else for the floodgates of forgiveness to open, because if that was the case, we would be putting our internal state into the hands of another person. And again, we are much bigger than that. We can do all this on our own, doing our own internal work. Okay, so just go back to a time, close your eyes, and I invite you to think of an event when things went wrong for you, harm was done, you were feeling injured or broken or cheated on. That's a difficult one. Stabbed in the back, exploited. Just think of a time like that. And now tune into your body and be there for yourself. What's going on inside your body now? And for instance, right now, I'm just thinking of my general past. I'm getting a real tight feeling in the upper part of my stomach and in my esophagus. It's like feeling all like tense up there. So you just take note what's happening for you when you do this activity. So sometimes it feels really scary and you might think, oh, I don't want to go there, because there is nowhere to run away from this pain. So it'll stir up something inside your body. So just keep doing that for a little while. Give yourself a chance. While we're doing it together, it's very, very safe. So, and just tune into your physical sensations. So you might even become aware of an emotion and then go back to the physical sensation. What's happening for you right now? When you think of an event, when somebody hurt you, or it could be yourself. You did something stupid, you caused harm, and you haven't forgiven yourself. So it doesn't matter what it is. Just remember the event. And what's your body telling you? Your body is sending you signals now. And this is what you need to pay attention to. So pay attention to your body. Some people, they get pressure here, like here. It gets really tight. Sharp knife pain. And that comes from your gallbladder. Right? You just put in the comment box what's happening for you, if you like, when you do that, when you think of an event. And it doesn't matter, don't worry about the particular event. Just do your inward journey, do your inner work with me. And so this process requires absolutely no willpower, no force. Welcome in whatever is happening. So go back in your mind. Think of a time it could even be like you were a child, somebody pushed you over and you fell down the steps. Just whatever comes up. And just tune into your body. Pay attention what's happening on the inside. Some people get a real swollen feeling in their throat. So just take notice of that. Some people feel their shoulders get all tense up and their neck gets really tense. Some people feel like a burning sensation in their chest. So this is all to do with your body sending you signals. And if you ignore those signals, you're repressing the issues in your tissues, and you're doing damage to yourself. So this is all about you. So sometimes people feel like, oh, I don't want to forgive Peter or Paul or Johnny because that sets him free, right? We have this weird idea about it. And we need to realize this, we're doing this for ourselves because this is setting us free. So right now, my body must be thinking of something and I can't pinpoint what it is. But I'm getting really bad pains in my thighs at the top. In my bones, it feels like a bone pain. And it could even be to do with the truck driver, because he actually had bone cancer and he eventually died from bone cancer. And always when we bang into each other, there is actually an energy transfer as well. So all sorts of things happen in our life, and in the energy world, too many things happen for us to ignore. And if we want to live a limitless life with freedom and creativity and energy, we need to learn to free us up. And that's what I do in my work, of course. I free people up so their energy starts to flow again, and happiness is uncovered and so on. But I really wish for everyone that they can do this at home. Okay, so forgiveness is really not saying I forgive you. Forgiveness is about freeing those pent-up emotions. That's all there is to it. And I just wish all the gurus and the greats and Jesus had explained that, and he might have explained it to his disciples, but it wasn't written down. So just go back into your body and simply stay with the constriction in your body and stay on it, and it's never going to last for longer than 10 minutes, I assure you. If you want to help your body, let's say you feel a pain in your throat or here, just use your own hands, the loving energy coming out of your hands to release those energy blocks, because that's all they are. So if you want to write something in the comment box, we can do it together and help you shift through those emotions. Hi Lynn, hi Marianne, how are you? So this process is so simple, so rewarding, so beautiful. That's how come children can do it and adults can't, because we simply get lost in our heads and we think forgiveness is an intellectual process that requires willpower and all the rest, and I need to be strong all the time. But actually nothing could be further from the truth, right? So it's about getting honest with yourself, bearing your soul, and tune into your wonderful, amazing body, which is always giving you clues, like divine breadcrumbs, you could say, towards your release and liberation. Okay, so this is the nature of true healing, and this will also help you to heal your relationships or when people irk you, because let's be honest here, the truck driver wasn't a biggie for me, but maybe Peter not picking up his socks, which he does by the way, but I'm just trying to make, what does Peter do? Okay, when he shaves himself, he often leaves all his beard shavings in the bathroom, in the, in the sink. And what's worse, I always I clean it up because I don't want to make a fuss, but then actually what's worse, Peter claims he always cleans it up, which he never does. So this could be a big issue, but it isn't really. But I'm just trying to think of an issue that requires me to get past it, but really, in order to get past it, I have to forgive him. Okay, so I'll just do a mini correction now. Where do I feel that? I actually feel that in my chest. So I'm going to just sit with that feeling. And it's gone already. And by the way, that just doesn't free me up in my relationship with Peter, but that my body would know that there's other things behind it, probably to do with my father when I was young, or previous lifetimes, or goodness knows how deep it goes. We don't know, but we can release it in the now. That's the wonderful thing. And this is the nature, like I said, the nature of true healing. Healing happens at the cell level, and then you get freed up in your mind, like you feel that opening up, a new sense of spaciousness. And that's what's so wonderful. Then your body can stop screaming at you, right? If your body is screaming at you, you need to pay it attention. So anyway, this was just a little session on forgiveness. I normally, personally, actually don't make a big fuss about forgiveness, right? For the reason that if we get it wrong and if we use it as a mental structure, it's going to do more damage. And sometimes, like, it's great if we can forgive, right? But sometimes people simply can't get over the hurdle. Let's say you're hitting a wall here. This is a wall, right? And you know the next step to get over and to hit the next plateau where you're comfortable, you need to somehow find the tools or the resources to uplift you somehow so you can get over that. So while you're here, I think it's more important for people to not worry about forgiving people who've hurt them terribly. And I do hear the worst stories, of course, of the things that people have done to each other. I think when you're stuck here, it's do your inward journey, right? When you feel cornered, just be there for your body. And you can also trick yourself. This is a really good one that I often use when I don't have the time or the resources. I just simply say to myself, I love myself for having forgiveness in my heart, or I love myself for not having forgiveness in my heart, or I forgive myself for not forgiving. That's a real beauty. If you say out loud, I forgive myself for not forgiving, that immediately releases a lot of tension. And ironically, before you know it, you're able to forgive. The whole forgiveness thing is gone away, and you're your beautiful, loving self again. So it's like you've climbed up the ladder, and you're nearly there now without even having to do any real painful work. So I hope you enjoy this, and I hope it makes sense to you, and I hope that it's a good message for you for the next week. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. So stay warm, everyone, and let me know how you get on and what came up for you and all the rest in the comment box. I would love to hear from you. Big love to you all. See you next week. Bye-bye.